One of these 12 businesses turns a single sale into a check that lands every single month for the next 10 years, without you lifting a finger twice. Total beginners are running all 12 of them right now, with no industry background and no fancy degree. Stick with me because the one at the very top isn't the one you'd guess. I'm Chris, and this is Boring Money with Chris, where I dig through the dusty, unglamorous corners of small business so you don't have to. Today we're ranking 12 businesses beginners are actually running, every one of them built on repeat customers and standing contracts worth real money. Number 12 starts us off, and it's already collecting recurring checks. Number 1, that contract never gets canceled. Number 12, estate sale services. When a family loses a loved one or downsizes fast, someone has to price, stage, and sell an entire house full of belongings in a weekend. That someone is an estate sale company, and they usually keep 30 to 40% of total sales as their fee. A typical sale can move $15,000 to $60,000 worth of stuff, meaning a single weekend can net $5,000 to $20,000 for the company. Startup costs are refreshingly low, often under $5,000 for tagging supplies, folding tables, and a simple booking website. The recurring angle here comes through referral contracts with real estate agents, attorneys, and senior living facilities who feed you steady work in exchange for a standing referral fee arrangement. One owner in Ohio built her entire business on 5 signed referral agreements with local law firms, never advertising to the public at all. Number 11, junk removal. Somebody has to haul away the old couch, the broken washer, the pile of construction debris nobody wants to deal with. A single truck and trailer setup can cost $15,000 to $30,000 to get rolling, but jobs typically run $200 to $600 each, and a 2-person crew can knock out 4 or 5 jobs a day. The real money shows up in standing contracts with property managers and construction companies who need routine hauls every week. One 2-truck operation in Texas signed a monthly clean-out contract with a chain of 12 apartment complexes and now has guaranteed income before the month even starts. Margins run 40 to 50% once you're past fuel and dump fees. It's not glamorous work, but it's nearly recession-proof because people never stop generating junk, boring or not. Number 10, chimney sweeping. It sounds like something out of a storybook, but modern sweeps use cameras, vacuums, and inspection drones to check for cracks and blockages that cause house fires. Startup gear runs $3,000 to $8,000, and a single cleaning and inspection visit brings in $150 to $400. The real edge is the annual inspection contract, since most insurance companies now require yearly documentation, which means customers come back every single year without you chasing them down. A sweep in Vermont built a subscription-style list of 600 households on autopilot renewal reminders and now barely advertises. Margins after fuel and gear maintenance land around 60%. It's dirty work, sure, but it's dirty work nobody else wants to learn, and that's exactly why the pay holds up. Number 9, bounce house rentals. Buy a few inflatables, a blower, and a trailer, and you've got a business that rents for $150 to $400 per event on weekends alone. Startup costs usually land between $6,000 and $15,000 for 3 or 4 units, and margins after cleaning and repairs often reach 70%, since the inflatables get reused dozens of times each season. The recurring angle isn't birthdays, though. It's standing contracts with schools, churches, and city parks departments who book seasonal events year after year. One rental company in Georgia locked in a spring and fall contract with a local school district covering 8 events annually, filling in the slow weekdays between weekend birthday parties. It's seasonal, it's simple, and it's one of the lowest barrier businesses on this list to start part-time. Coming up, a business where the contract renewal is basically automatic, whether anyone remembers signing it or not. Number 8, used tire shops. Every car needs tires, and not everyone wants to pay full price for new ones, which keeps used tire shops busy in nearly every town in America. Startup costs run $20,000 to $50,000 for a small shop with basic mounting equipment, but a single used tire sells for $25 to $60 with margins often above 50% once you factor in wholesale bulk buying from tire recyclers. The recurring revenue here comes from fleet service contracts, since delivery companies and taxi services need tires rotated and replaced constantly and would rather sign one steady vendor than shop around every time. A shop owner in Michigan landed a standing contract with a regional delivery fleet covering 90 vehicles, guaranteeing predictable monthly work regardless of walk-in traffic. It's not exciting, but tires wear out on a schedule, and that schedule doesn't care what the economy is doing. Number 7. Erosion control blankets. Here's a question for you. What happens to bare dirt on a construction site the moment it rains? It washes straight into storm drains, and government regulations now fine developers heavily for it, which is exactly why erosion control blanket installers stay busy. These are the straw or coconut fiber mats laid over slopes to stop soil runoff, and installation contracts on a mid-sized site run $3,000 to $15,000. Startup costs are modest, around $10,000 to $20,000 for a small crew, stakes, and a trailer. The recurring money comes from ongoing contracts with civil engineering firms and municipalities who need this work on every single project they touch, not just one. A 3-person crew in Oregon signed a standing agreement with a county road department covering every culvert and slope project for the year. It's dirt, straw, and paperwork, but the compliance requirement means the work never actually dries up. Number 6. Fence installation. Every new subdivision, every backyard renovation, every dog owner eventually needs a fence, and that steady demand makes this one of the more dependable trades for a beginner crew. Startup costs run $15,000 to $35,000 for a truck, post hole digger, and basic tools, and a standard residential job brings in $2,500 to $8,000 with 30 to 40% margins. The recurring piece comes from subcontracting relationships with home builders, where one signed agreement can deliver 15 or 20 installs a year without a single sales call. A small crew in North Carolina built their entire business around one home builder contract covering an entire new development, installing identical fences on 40 lots over 18 months. It's steady, it's physical, and once you land one good builder relationship, you stop worrying about where the next job comes from. Number 5. Golf ball recovery from ponds. Golf courses lose thousands of balls into their water hazards every season, and most of them are perfectly reusable once cleaned and sorted. Divers or drone and net operators pay the course a small fee for exclusive recovery rights, then resell the balls in bulk to refurbishers for 15 to 50 cents each. A single course can yield 10 to 30,000 balls a year, and startup costs are surprisingly low, around $3,000 to $8,000 for a wetsuit, magnetic rakes, or an underwater drone. The real leverage is the recovery rights contract itself, often locked in for multiple years and covering several courses at once, which turns a weird little side hustle into a standing territory nobody else can touch. One recovery operator in Florida holds rights to 9 courses and treats it as a full route, not a hobby. It sounds strange until you see the math, and then it just sounds smart. Number 4. Mobile home park ownership. Here's the thing most people miss. You don't need to own the mobile homes at all, just the land underneath them, and the residents pay you monthly lot rent no matter what happens to the housing market above it. Small parks with 20 to 50 lots often sell for $400,000 to $1.5 million, financed largely through the property's own income, and lot rents typically run $300 to $600 per pad each month. That means a 50-lot park can generate $15,000 to $25,000 a month in fairly predictable recurring rent, since residents rarely move a mobile home once it's set up. Operating costs stay lean because you're not maintaining the units themselves. An owner in Missouri bought a rundown 30-lot park, cleaned up the common areas, and turned it into one of the steadiest income properties in his entire portfolio within 2 years. Number 3. Pallet recycling. Warehouses and distribution centers go through pallets constantly, and most of them would rather pay someone to haul away the broken ones and deliver fresh repaired ones than deal with it themselves. A recycler buys damaged pallets for $1 to $2 each, repairs them for another $1 or $2 in labor and lumber, then resells them for $6 to $9, often in weekly truckload contracts. Startup costs run $25,000 to $60,000 for a forklift, nail gun, and yard space, but a single standing supply contract with a regional warehouse can guarantee thousands of dollars in orders every single week without any new sales effort. One pallet yard in Indiana runs almost entirely on 4 recurring weekly contracts with local manufacturers, never touching the spot market at all. It's about as unglamorous as business gets. Stacks of wood in a gravel lot, but the weekly repeat orders make the cash flow shockingly dependable. Number 2, coffee machine routes for offices. This one is basically a vending machine business wearing a nicer outfit. You place a coffee machine in an office break room for free, sign a service agreement, and the office pays a flat monthly fee, usually $200 to $800, depending on machine size and head count, covering beans, filters, and maintenance visits. Startup costs run $10,000 to $25,000 for 5 or 6 machines and a small delivery van, and margins after supplies typically land between 40% and 55%. The entire model runs on signed 12 or 24-month service contracts, which means once a machine is placed, that revenue is locked in and renews on autopilot unless the office cancels. A small route operator in Illinois grew to 22 offices simply by asking existing clients for 2 referrals each, turning one contract into a small empire of steady monthly billing. And number 1, the one nobody sees coming, fire extinguisher inspection. Every commercial building in the country is legally required to have its extinguishers inspected at least once a year, no exceptions, no expiration date on the requirement. That single law is what makes this the strongest recurring business on this entire list. Startup costs are shockingly low, often under $10,000 as for tags, gauges, and basic recharge equipment, and inspection contracts typically bill $15 to $30 per unit, per visit, across dozens or hundreds of units per building. One inspector in Georgia holds a standing annual contract with a chain of 18 restaurants, covering 400 extinguishers total, worth roughly $9,000 every single year, without lifting a finger to find new clients. Once you sign that first contract, it renews itself year after year because the law never goes away, and neither does the fire risk. That's why this contract never actually gets canceled. Here's the thread running through all 12 of these. The money isn't really in the one-time sale, it's in whoever keeps coming back, whether that's a law requiring an inspection or a builder who needs 40 fences. Boring businesses win because boring problems never go away. Which one of these surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. I actually read them. And before you go do anything with what you learned today, do your own digging and talk to someone who knows the local rules where you live. If this kept you company for 12 minutes, subscribe. There's a new one of these every week.